It should tell you. This should be fun. Oh, this is gonna be epic.
Hello. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see it on my end.
Oh, you can't? You should be able to. That's like your whole thing. You're the one that started it.
It doesn't
This
say it.
boomer over here.
No, normally it does, and it doesn't say it this time. Maybe we have no one. Bum, bum, bum.
Aw, we have no viewers. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. So,
what's up? This is our first episode of Cringe Watch.
Yes.
Today, our specimen in question is Benjamin Aaron Shapiro. If you didn't know.
Is that his middle name? What a stupid middle name. Aaron.
No, it's Aaron.
Aaron. You should have said Aaron.
I don't know. So he is an American conservative political commentator, public speaker, media executive, author, and attorney.
Harvard graduate over here.
Yes, he is currently 36. Whoa! That was quick. Hold on, I'll let Kristen.
Yeah. Hold on. Give me just a second. I'm gonna figure out where I was reading from. He is currently 36 years old. Shapiro's parents both worked in Hollywood. His mother is an executive of a TV company, and his father is a composer. Shapiro's cousin is a writer and former child actress, Maria Wilson, which is Matilda, for those of you that don't know. And he graduated from UCLA and Harvard. Can we get some... What's Harvard's... You used to love Ben? That's cringe. That's cringe. We're gonna cringe watch that. Rattlesnakesman alligators. Just waiting on Mariah, and then.
Sorry, I have to have my partner in chief.
Yes, he's also going to bully Ben Shapiro with us.
Bully me.
Alrighty, and I think with that, the intro is donezo. What do you think, Ryan? Anything else you want to say about our lovely man, Ben? He recently had a controversial tweet go up right now.
Really?
Yeah, there's like one wherever he posted a picture of the mask, like what states are using masks and what states have the highest COVID rate.
Coronavirus denier.
No, he wears masks though. I saw a tweet. Yeah, he said he wears masks. He said, I'm an avid mask wearer.
But he was like, but what if?
Hypothetically, if we didn't wear masks, would COVID cases go up? The answer is no. Alrighty, so you ready? We're gonna watch our first Ben Shapiro video. It's gonna be his meme review. So get ready for this.
So PewDiePie asked me to review memes. Memes are this thing where people put funny stuff on my phone. Here is one of these.
I love his definition of meme. Meme
is put funny things on my phone. What does that mean?
This is a boomer comment. That was straight up boomer.
Memes. Let's take a look.
Ben, where are we at?
Fortnite.
Default dance.
Oh my god.
Default dance. Oh my god. What do you think he's gonna boomer it up? He's gonna ruin it.
Okay.
Me.
Hypothetically.
Taken from a tape of me at the Dallas airport by my.
Why does he need to explain it? It was a video of me where it was originally taken at the Dallas airport. Like, I don't think any of us actually care.
Producer Jonathan Hay, and then I guess they inserted me in a Fortnite.
I guess they inserted me. I don't know for sure.
I suppose. I don't know if it was real or not.
You probably know the reference better. I don't dance.
He doesn't dance. That was an edited video of him dancing.
I give this meme a 3.
A 3?
Next.
That was a 10 out of 10.
Okay, so. Okay, this one says,
the heart
share
emoji threw me
if
out
you
of
wish
it.
Ben Shapiro was real.
I would not share that meme because I don't want him to be real.
I like this one a lot. This one.
Wait.
Says, share if you wish Ben Shapiro was real. I like this one a lot.
I like this one a lot.
Like, finally, one I can understand.
Because, in fact, I am a mythical creature, like a winged Pegasus or some sort of griffin. And I guess the idea is that I'm so fantastic that I'm not even real, but you wish I were real. This appeals to my ego. Excellent meme. Excellent meme. Next.
Isn't he religious? Isn't there like something about idolizing? He's like, oh, let me put myself on this pedestal. But hypothetically,
if I was on a pedestal, would you guys
I'm a devout.
I don't think he's religious. I don't know. I actually don't know.
He wears a yarmulke or a kippah. That's what
What?
it's on right now. Look at his head. He's
What's his
Jewish.
head?
Yeah.
Oh, but that doesn't mean he's religiously Jewish.
I suppose not. I thought he was pretty.
I spent all day making. Excellent.
Okay, this is
I
epic.
love all of the memes about how I just Shapiro chops up human body.
Ben Shapiro chops up human body. What is he talking about?
Cue the Curb Your Enthusiasm audio.
That was
Delivers
What?
to ditch, leaves it bleeding for the police to find later, but is never found. I like those kind of memes.
I feel like his nose is a lot bigger
I think that
than normal. I don't know.
castle that I spent all day making because I would do that. Why would you spend all day making a sandcastle? It's a complete waste of time. The waves are just going to wash it.
hypothetically, if you spent all day making a sandcastle, we would hate you.
You do anything you enjoy, it's just not worth it.
Make a sandcastle. I will preemptively knock it down because what are you? Some sort of child? Be an adult. Grow up. Next meme.
He looks so happy with himself, and he goes, "Next
Be an
meme." Like
adult.
it's not
Don't
even.
enjoy life.
He
Don't
said,
do
"Be an
anything.
He says, "Be an adult," and then immediately goes, "Next meme," as a little kid.
A picture of me next to a sign that says left lane must turn left, and I'm smiling, and then a picture of me as apparently some sort of alien shooting lasers from my eyes, and it says
An alien shooting lasers. This is like peak boomerism.
left. Okay, little on the nose, but I agree. I live to create leftist tears. I have a mug with that on it. Leftist.
Leftist tears,
So-
not even Democrat tears. So he's
He
coming
moved
for our
on to
throats.
leftists.
He's coming for our throats right here.
Oh my gosh,
Here.
that's so. Oh.
Facts over feelings.
Good meme. Okay, solid. Not as good as some of the others, but I'm not gonna make a huge deal.
Why did he only rank the first one? He gave the first one a 3 and then hasn't given the rest of them a number. Talk about
A lot of
consistency.
it. Zeshtuyot. This is garbage. Do the stanky leg. Left wing destroy. Don't know what any of that means. I don't know what the reference is.
Dude, the stanky, he doesn't know what the stanky leg is.
Detached from reality.
He literally has like no idea what's going on.
I don't know what a stanky leg is.
I don't know what a stanky leg. Hypothetically, if I knew what a stanky leg is, I would actually
Why
be
does
able
the
to
leg
review this
stink?
meme.
This is liberal media propaganda.
Going on? I've got nothing. Next meme. Okay, this is epic. This is taken from one of my tweets a long time ago about something President Trump did. People always take that, okay, this is epic, and they use it for various other things.
Okay,
And
now
it's a
this
picture
is epic.
of Stewie Griffin with Peter Griffin's head and Lois Griffin's hair.
Why does
from
he know so
Yahoo
much
News.
about like
I was
Family Guy? I feel like that's like a red flag right
He
there.
doesn't understand a stanky leg, but he knows Family Guy.
those characters would indeed be epic. I don't think this is the best example of the okay, this is epic meme. I've seen the okay, this is epic meme used in a variety of ways that say I don't think this one is the
Damn.
strongest. Good
He's
in concept,
critiquing this meme.
bad in execution. Next meme. This one has somebody's eyes really wide and it says cocaine, and then somebody's eyes look a little bit lazy. It says marijuana. and
Little
somebody looks a
lazy.
bit drunk,
What?
Beer. And then my
The eyes don't
glaring
look
into the
drunk.
camera. It says fact. I like this one. It's very good. This one is very good. Because facts do make you focused.
Where are your facts at, then?
King of logical fallacies, facts. They make me.
Kind of smug. I know because it's my entire personality, focused but also kind of smug.
At least he's aware that he's very smug.
I agree with this meme. More than it's good, it's something I agree with on a factual level. So good meme.
Oh,
guys.
He said
Factual
facts.
level.
Next meme. It's a picture of a pentagon, and then it says hexagon, and then octagon, and then Obama is gone. And a picture. Oh, this one.
That wasn't even that good.
This is
A lot.
one of
Okay,
the worst
that was
memes.
epic.
This is like on that meme was on the level that like Minion mom Facebook post was on.
I know. And he like laughed like it was like peak comedy. Ah, crab rave.
I don't know what that one has to do with me, actually. It just says Obama is gone, so I'm not sure even why I was analyzing that meme. So I don't
Why I took and expended my human labor power.
going to do a meme review on memes about me. I'm not going to care about a meme that is not about me. That's not what this meme review is for.
Next
I think people are
meme.
thinking. Was that it? Are there any more memes? That's it?
He looks kind of disappointed.
No
There's
more
no.
memes. Said that was Epi.
He made his own. What did he use? Microsoft Word?
Okay, okay, this is epic. So
Ah,
PewDiePie.
well, that was the first video. What do we think?
That was something. That was something else.
That was definitely. It was funny. I do think it was funny.
I tried to find the one where it says destroys specifically. So I want to know what he's destroying.
So we bullied. That was fun. But now we're actually going to roast this man. Dig his grave for him.
How do you say that some people don't have privilege when you basically just said that trans people aren't valid? They're not a thing. They're just girls pretending to be boys or boys pretending to be girls.
Okay.
Like, okay.
Oh, someone's excited. Okay.
Biological, but gender is a completely different thing.
No, gender is not disconnected from sex. So.
First of all, what?
Ben Shapiro has never read a biology textbook to understand
Literally,
that.
like, you look at like even like intersex people and stuff like that. Like, does he
No,
think
they
that
don't
they're-
exist. Ben Shapiro confirmed.
But then it's like, so what gender would you assign to like an intersex person if you think sex and gender is one thing? You know what I mean?
That's my question. How do they figure out like what that is?
Like, how do you know what their gender is then? That's just one example. And then, I don't know. Let's see.
Completely disconnected, but it's still a cultural thing. It's still from society. It's
Okay. No, it is not in the mind. Okay, you're not
Wait, his face, he went, okay, no.
a man if you think you're a man. And I didn't say pretending, or if I did, I shouldn't have said pretending. Let me amend.
playing.
Okay, I said a boy who thinks he's a girl. That's the usual phraseology I use. Not playing. I usually say a boy who thinks he's a girl or a girl who thinks he's a boy, which is technically what we're talking about here. As far as the actual psychological issues at play, it used to be called gender dysphoria or gender identity disorder, not be called gender. The idea that sex, gender are malleable is not. Okay, and I'm not denying your humanity if you're a transgender person. I am saying that you are not the sex to claim to be. You're still a human being. You're a human being with an issue that I wish you Godspeed in dealing.
What? He just said being transition.
I don't deny them that they're a human. They're
just have
not
issues.
valid.
They just have issues. Like what? I don't. He's not even making an argument here. He's just like, you're not. Like,
He's saying
where
it
is
like
the
it's an
argument?
objective fact, even though he's using subjective reasoning.
There was literally like no like source or argument or anything like that at all. Then just now, like literally, he just was like, "You're
Because I'm
not,"
Ben Shapiro.
because I said so. That's it.
Dealing with in whatever way you see fit. But if you are going to dictate to me that I'm supposed to pretend that men are women and women are men, no. My answer is no. I'm not.
You're supposed to pretend. So
What
does
does
that
that
mean?
mean?
Like you're pretending. That's not pretending someone to respect what they want to go by. Is that what he's saying? Like saying that if you think, like if somebody was like, oh, if they're trans, and then they said their gender, like that their pronouns are like she, her, then you're pretending if you call them she, her?
I guess.
But what if
That doesn't make any sense to me though. Like
that doesn't make any sense to me. You're pretending. Like so like you're saying that if somebody, because I mean like of course there are people that like pass better than other people, you know what I mean? People that have started transitioning at a younger age and stuff like that. So like if you've called them a woman, is then you were unknowing that they were trans, or is that you pretending?
I guess in his mind he would be like, I mean, his brain would probably explode or break off of its little brainstem.
I'm going to modify basic biology because it threatens your subjective sense of what you are.
Basic biology.
Basic biology.
He doesn't understand the difference between sex and gender, and how gender is like a sociology thing, and sex is literally just biology. It's your chromosomes.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that even with your chromosomes, there's still like what, like 6 different genders based on your chromosomes, like XXY and XYY and stuff like that. Like there are so many different genders, and then okay.
You're still saying these kids should like not be accepted because they don't really fit in either place. They can't just like.
I'm saying that the Boy Scouts have a standard. You must be a biological boy to be a Boy Scout. You have to be a boy to be a Boy Scout.
Where's that written though?
In the name Boy Scouts.
Because it's in the name.
What? Why do you have to? I already have my own complaints with like the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts. Like, why do you need to gender children at such a young age?
I don't
like
understand why he's going off of like the linguistics of it, right? Like that.
Yeah, it
just
says
doesn't make
boy.
sense. Because like if you go to like any other language, right, and you were to see like a group of people, you would go by like the male pronouns. Yeah, I know. I feel Lucas's take on Ben Shapiro. But he just thinks because it's in the name.
Just because something says like boy or girl, that's like being like, oh, like I don't get it. Like, why?
How do you determine what is for girls and what's for boys? Like when it comes to toys, when it comes to clubs.
You just say that it is, so it is. It says boy on the box, that makes it boy.
Facts over feelings. Oh, he
Round of applause for Bitty Boy.
Because this is a very because for all of human history, boy meant boy and girl meant girl. Boy did not mean girl.
Except that's not true.
Boy meant boy and girl meant girl.
Isn't it like the natives where they had like two spirits? Were the people that were like that was like one of the like fundamental things in like history was like Native Americans. They acknowledged like intersex and like transgenders, like our current day definition.
I have no idea. I don't know anything like about like that, but I'm just saying it's just like I don't get it. Like, what is he even trying to argue? He's not even making an argument. He's just like, it's boy now. It says boy on box, so that means boys.
I'm Ben Shapiro. My way.
My way or the highway.
You know, like people are very culture.
And if I call you a moose, are you suddenly a moose? Or...
Oh, the attack helicopter.
Oh my
argument.
God.
Okay, if I redefine our terms. No, it's a yes, that's right. Men
He's
and women.
being literally not to mention how disrespectful was that. Not to mention he's supposed to be this great debater and this great arguer, whatever you want to call it. But then you just sit there. If I call you a moose, does that make you a moose? That's literally like a toddler.
Like a false equivalency fallacy to determine his logic. That's
literally like, not to mention that was like a toddler argument. Like that's literally like, oh, I'm gonna call you a name because I don't like what you said.
Women are a completely different thing. This is true. Have you ever met a man or a woman? They're completely different.
You can't just say you're a cat. It's not a thing. It's genders. It's not saying you're.
Okay, why is that? I don't understand. Why? Okay, let me ask you.
I don't understand.
Okay, I won't ask you how old. I will ask you how old you are. Okay, because you're young enough that it's probably not insulting to ask you. So.
I'm 22, so I'm probably young and naive, right?
No. Why aren't you 60?
What does that literally have? Literally, I've never understood that. Why aren't you 60? What is that? I wasn't born 60 years ago.
Age is a social construct.
Nobody's ever argued. What? Age is a. What? I'm just gonna keep watching. You hear the O's in the background? They're like, oh, like she just dropped the mic. Ben Shapiro owned the libs.
And why can't you identify as 60? What is the problem with you identifying as 60?
It's not the same as gender. You can't just.
You're right. Age is significantly less important than gender. You can't magically change your gender. You can't magically.
But it's not.
No one's saying
magic.
It's magically changing.
It's not magic. You take hormones and stuff like that. You go through gender reassignment surgery if that's something that you want. Like, that's not magic. Like, people understand that it's a medical process that you have to go through. It's not magic. Nobody's ever claimed that it was magic either.
Change your sex. You can't magically change your age.
What?
Legally change it. People recognize.
You can't legally change your age, by the way.
Obviously, you can change your age, you can change your sex, you can change your identity.
Just because you can do things legally doesn't mean that they are correct biologically. You could do lots of things in the past that were incorrect biologically and correct legally. For a long period of time in the United States.
What does he mean by correct biologically?
Okay, Skinner versus Oklahoma. Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes wrote the decision.
What? Just because.
The best thing though, right, is he went to Harvard. Like he had to take all these undergrad biology classes and he just like
ignored them.
It's not a matter of open-minded and accepting. I want them to get treatment that they see fit, but that's not involving me. The idea behind the transgender movement as a civil rights movement is the idea that all of their problems would just go away if I would pretend that they were the sex to which they claim.
Pretend? Why does he keep using that word pretend? It's not pretending. It's just being respectful.
His like the way he words his stuff is in order to like what was the word?
I want to read the comments after this because I just want to know what these fuckers are saying. You know?
Oh yeah, go through, see what the top ones are.
To which they claim membership. That's nonsense.
They claim membership. Let me just subscribe to my Girl
Club?
Weekly. Let me just subscribe to my Girl Weekly magazine that makes me a girl every single week. Sorry,
Where's your
guys.
card? Don't you have your card? You know, your membership?
I don't have it on me. Oh no. I didn't subscribe to it this month. I forgot. What?
You're just pretending now.
Suicide rate 40%. It is 40%.
So he recognizes that the transgender suicide rate is very high.
And according to the Anderson School at UCLA, it makes no difference. There's a study that came out last year. It makes no difference, virtually no difference, statistically speaking, as to whether people recognize you as a transgender person or not, which suggests there's a very high comorbidity between transgenderism, whatever that mental state may be, and suicidality. That has nothing to do with how society
Do you
treats
think
you.
it could be because of their bullied at school?
No, I do not think that the discrepancy, for
I do
I
not
want
think
to
that's a
see this
discrepancy.
study. I think he's trying to say that like correlation doesn't equal causation, even though
But like that's the thing is that like it obviously does. Like kids bully people for being different. And being transgender is against the social norms that we are conditioned by our boomer relatives that have put this in. You know what I mean? Like they just put it into people's mind that like, oh, if you're transgender, if you don't go along with the regular gender binary, you don't go along with like what we have always had, then you're different and you're weird. And then children see that and that's how they treat other children, you know?
Mhm.
It's not okay. And that's one of the main reasons. Like I don't think any reason would like any person would ever just be like, oh, like it doesn't make any sense to me like for them to like just a trans person in general, like obviously like me and you are friends with one, Chloe, she's a trans woman, but it's not like I feel like you can have mental issues that aren't associated with being trans though, you know what I mean?
I think what he's trying to say is that like transgenderism as a whole is like
A mental illness.
detestable mental illness, and they need to go and get help, like really big help. Like it's on the same level as other stuff, but it's not, because not even all trans people have gender dysphoria.
Yeah.
So it's like, what
if he's just saying that just to say that, like he's not even sourcing anything.
bullying of any sort, okay? The idea that somebody would beat somebody up is terrible, okay? As somebody who's viciously bullied in high school, I'm not a fan of bullying.
You deserve to be bullied, not gonna lie. I'm gonna say it. If you act
bring
like
it back. Whoops.
Bricks the
Sorry.
door. Yes, Chloe.
That was courtesy of Lucas. He decided that was the one that was going to go up.
Yes. He said he was bullied in high school. I wonder why.
But the idea that the normal suicide rate across the United States is 4%. The suicide rate in the transgender community is 40%. The idea that 36% more transgender people are committing suicide because people are mean to them is ridiculous.
Does he not know how statistics works? Like, you don't just subtract it. It means of that community, like 40% of that 4% are coming from the transgender community.
So it'd be 40% of 4%, which would be small number. But I don't know what that is at the time.
Well, I mean, like they make up obviously like a smaller proportion of our population. So when 40% are contributing to that 4% total number that he's polling, that's a disproportionate amount.
Yes, definitely. But like the thing is that like I mean, because like it's not like we can like survey these people like, oh, why did you kill yourself? Like they're already dead, so we don't know like what the specific reason, if it has to relate to the trans issues or if it has to relate to issues with like just regular depression or other mental illnesses that somebody could possibly have, you know what I mean? But it's obviously got to be outside factors since it's at such a higher rate than other people, you know what I mean?
I feel
But
Ben Shapiro wrecking.
It is pure conjecture. In fact, it's not even true that bullying causes suicide, according to a lot of studies.
According to a lot of studies. What? I'm just
You're
gonna
telling
look this
me
up real
that
quick.
creating this material condition for these kids where they are constantly harassed isn't contributing. That's not the reason.
Does
It's doing nothing.
bullying lead to suicide? School shootings is the first thing.
I mean,
The
technically,
relation. Okay, here's researchgate.net. I don't know. Victims of bullying in childhood and suicide attempts to examine blah blah blah. Recall of being bullied in high school. Decreased from age 25. Blah blah blah. So it looks like it does show suicidal behavior and how it. So I don't know what studies he's talking about. It literally just says like all of these. Like I look up, does bullying lead to suicide? And so many websites are just like, oh, talking. Here's the relationship between bullying and suicide from espanolcdc.org.
we'll have to find some and then throw it in the description.
Yeah.
So that
I'm not
other
gonna
people
read
can
through
see.
it all this, but
If you have some studies, drop them in the comment section, and we will read through them.
so it says that like bullying doesn't directly cause suicide, but it is one of the factors of that could be a factor of people's suicide, which makes sense. But
Yeah, it's one of those things that you're not going to be able to completely calculate, but to think that it has zero effect on someone doing that, I think it's
like,
just
yeah. Okay, ready.
For example, in the black community, where the idea is supposedly that America is a racist society, blacks are bullied a lot. Okay, in the black community has significantly lower suicide rates than in the white community. In fact, in third world countries, the suicide rate is significantly lower than in first world countries. Suicide actually seems to be a privilege of the upper classes.
He just said suicide is for the bourgeois. What? The thing is that since he's up on stage and he already has this whole pedestal stuff, he doesn't.
Why is he comparing it to third world countries?
Like that's the thing is that like he doesn't have to like listen to these sources or anything. He just say whatever he wants. You know?
He went to Harvard.
Yeah.
If you actually look at it from a financial perspective. So the idea that suicidality is directly a result of people like me saying, no, men are not women and women are not men, it's not true. It's also...
So you think it doesn't impact their identity at all or their depression or how they feel about themselves?
I think the idea that you're going to sacrifice the entire society's proper definition of sex because you think that there is in legal terms, somebody with an eggshell skull, meaning that somebody who has a pre-existing condition that makes them more susceptible to criticism, that is not a way to run.
The thing is, telling a trans person isn't valid isn't criticism. That's just straight like...
You're like dehumanizing them.
Yeah.
Putting them on a different level that isn't the same as the societal norm.
But then Ben Shapiro earlier was like, oh, you're not any less of a human. You just have mental illness. That's mental illness, isn't it?
Society. You can't sacrifice truth because some people are going to actually suffer because of the truth. Plus, there's no evidence whatsoever that the suicide rate would go down in the transgender community in any marked way if people just started pretending that men were women and women were men.
Pretending. There he goes using that pretending word again. That's the thing is that like there's no way that we could calculate that because of the suicide rates going down or anything like that.
I'm sure they could look at the overall like suicide rates, right? And if like as time progresses and as it becomes more like understood in society, I imagine that it would go down.
I mean, I'm sure it would. I can see that it would go down, but there's no way for us
to definitively say it, but it would make sense.
I feel like it would improve something at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to mention that trans people are also killed at a higher rate than other like average like cisgender people. And so the fact that that's a obvious statistic, and that shows that people are obviously killing someone for being transgender. So if we respected trans people more as a society, then I'm sure the murders of trans people would probably go significantly down, and maybe if the suicide rates don't go down, at least the murder rates go down. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We're trying that experiment now. We'll find out whether it works. So far, no evidence.
Have you talked to a group of trans people at all instead of this group of like white people?
I'm more than happy to talk to a group of any people who will have me, but usually they protest me.
So quirky.
Last question about your Planned Parenthood thing. So why do you think it's not about controlling women's bodies and just about the separate life? Like after the baby is born, how come when people don't care about them? They don't care where they end up in foster care. They don't care about the mother being poor. Like,
Okay, I do care about the mother being poor. I do care about foster care.
okay, but why don't you have to pay for that though?
For
Planned
what?
Parenthood is supposed to prevent abortions.
Because Planned Parenthood doesn't prevent abortions. They perform hundreds of thousands of abortions a year. They perform 300,000 abortions a year. They're leading up.
Is that even true?
Yeah. That's according to like
300,000?
theirs. But he's saying that they don't. He's acting like they don't do anything besides
Abortions.
Oh, like
They
they do
also provide.
colonoscopies. They do pap smears. They do like any of the cervical cancer screenings. They do all of the preventative stuff too.
Yeah, that's just also like an option that they have.
An abortion bill in the United States.
Evidence for that though.
That they perform 300,000 abortions a year from Planned Parenthood. That's my evidence. They don't dispute that. No one disputes that.
Like birth control and cancer.
I'm not anti-birth control.
I know.
Birth control is extraordinarily cheap.
That provides abortion.
Extraordinarily cheap.
Oh,
Where's the
not
cheap
really.
at? Because I know, like, I'm not on birth control anymore, but whenever I was on birth control, it costed me like $10 a month, I think.
I think
Something
go
around
upwards of like 50, depending on the brand, because not
Yeah.
everyone's going to be able to take the same one. This is just for like the oral contraceptive, right?
Yeah,
not
no,
everyone can
that's
take it.
what I mean. Yeah, some people have to get like the implant and stuff like that, which could be a couple $100 up front if your insurance doesn't cover it and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just like birth control is not necessarily cheap, especially not to mention for significantly poor people. If they can barely afford birth control, then what makes you think that they're going to be able to afford a child? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Don't know though.
Birth control, which would in turn.
Okay, they're not the only people in America who provide affordable birth control. You can go get a pack of condoms down at the local CVS.
A pack of condoms, because you know those are 110% effective every time.
Absolutely.
Medication too.
Yes, and it's true that most forms of birth control are also extraordinarily cheap on an annualized basis, unless you have a severe problem. Most birth control is very cheap and readily available. And I'm not against going and getting that from Planned Parenthood. As you may have noticed, I'm mostly against abortion. If you want to go to Planned Parenthood and get a contraceptive, go for it. I don't care. I do care when you start
Killing babies.
Killing babies, even though I think it's only about 4% of their total services.
Yeah. Like
that,
it's not even a significant amount. You know what? Ben Shapiro would not be okay with you killing that child right there in your arms, Rye.
You know what they do? They give them to the mother. They hold them, then they take them in the back. That's what Donald Trump said, right?
I don't know.
They birth them, and then they go and kill them.
I only know the one where Donald Trump was like, Democrats are or mothers are allowing their babies to be born after 9 months.
This is a problem.
The audio that you hear, girl, is like impossible to hear. Like, I don't know why it's so bad.
Because they just want Benny Boy to be heard.
I do care when you start killing babies. This is a problem for me.
But what about rape and incest situations?
Okay, so this is So
Rape and incest.
I mean, this is a long conversation. I'm enjoying it actually, which is why I'm allowing you to stay. But it's
I'm wrecking you on stage.
I don't even think he's doing that good of a job.
He's not.
The question of rape and incest, first of all, important to note, rape and incest are not only a vast minority of abortion cases, they're an extraordinarily low percentage of abortion cases. So if we can first stipulate.
But then he's not going to mention how the amount of abortions that happen is a very low percentage, right?
No, and like he's just like, I don't like the babies being killed. But only like 1% happen after the third trimester. I think only like 4 is like the majority happen when it's like first trimester.
It's like the size of a raspberry or something, so it's like not even that big.
Smaller. Yeah, it's like
literally like a gummy snack.
A boba ball.
That
Yeah.
all the other abortions are bad, then we can talk about that other one. Can we do that? Are all the other abortions bad, or are those ones okay? And you're just using this as an excuse to make the other ones okay.
They're all okay.
Ah, good. Someone who's honest. So, who's the honest fellow? Who's okay? Yay, honest people. Good. I like the honesty. Okay, so all abortions are okay.
All abortions are okay. I love killing babies.
Base Ben. Cut it here.
So
Did he really say that? Did he actually say
okay, yay, honest people. Good. I like the honesty. Okay, so all abortions are okay.
Done. End of video.
Done. Look at that. Base.
Beautiful.
So
We stand.
does oh, a sign that I can't read because it has lots of words on it. Okay, so I have one question for you and one question only on abortion. Does the vagina, the vaginal canal, magically confer personhood?
What?
Answer.
His whole argument is like, I can't remember what the philosopher is. Basically, they state that personhood is just always, like as soon as you're from conception. There's never not a time that you're not a person. They don't go through the specific characteristics of personhood. So he's trying to say that the coochie is the determining factor of what personhood is, like passing through to the real world.
I don't think any child has personhood until it makes human connections with people. Like, you know what I mean? And you can make connections while you're in the womb. You know what I mean? Like, there's been studies that show that children react to like mother singing voices and stuff like that. And I think at that point that is a significant personhood. And the only time that an abortion should be like that is whenever it's obviously at a medical risk for the woman. And I think most people believe that. Like, most people aren't just like, oh, you're about to have your baby, you're about to pop, go ahead, get an abortion. Nobody's like that. You know what I mean? And I think most people that like are, if the child could survive on its own, then there's no reason to have an abortion. But the thing is that like within the first 8 weeks, that child could not support on his own. It'd be like a little gummy stuck to the wall. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Does the vagina magically confer personhood? Yeah, raised hands are okay. You, sir.
No, the first breath does.
The first breath confers personhood. Okay, so if the baby is in the womb and is exactly the same size and has not yet breathed, and you take a knife and you
Just
stab
big.
the baby in the head, a fully formed 9-month-old baby, it is not a human. The only thing that makes it a human is when it takes a breath. It has to independently breathe.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to stick to it, yeah, because I'm also pro capital punishment, pro corruptive.
He's like, excuse me?
It's just his face, he went, like, it was like straight out of a horror film, that was.
He's shook.
So I'm going to stick with it.
Selective suicide? Yeah, I assume you mean elective suicide.
I mean, elective suicide.
Elective suicide. Okay.
Yes, I'm not going to make someone commit suicide.
Okay, that's good, because that wouldn't be suicide, that'd be homicide. So
But bullying does not link to suicide, so if you bully someone, you're not contributing. You're not committing homicide, just so you guys know.
that by the way, I'm for capital punishment too.
I'm for capital punishment too, but you can't kill babies. Own the
Pro
libs.
life. Ha ha ha.
Own the
got it.
libs.
Because people who kill people should be killed, but babies who have not killed people should not. And this is my basic position on abortion. So let me but I'll get your answer because you're the one who asked the question. Are you willing to stipulate that all the other abortions are bad? Just rape and incest bother you?
I mean, no, I believe a woman should have the right to
Got it. So it's an excuse, right? So it's an excuse so that we can say that, so that we can take the marginal case and then say that the marginal case applies to all cases. Okay, that's again faulty thinking. But if you want me to answer specifically on rape and
He
His
did not
entire
just
brain is
accuse her
faulty
of faulty thinking.
Her entire brain is faulty thinking. Or his entire brain is faulty thinking. No brain cells.
incest, here is my basic answer. Rapists should be castrated or killed. You shouldn't kill babies. End of
Rapists should be castrated or killed. There's something I can get behind. Basement Shapiro? Question mark?
story.
But are they ever castrated and killed? Most rapists don't even get convicted.
I agree, and that's usually the left side of the aisle because the left side wants to let them out after 5 years in prison.
That has
What?
nothing to do with them going to prison in the first place.
The left side. What does that have to do with anything? Why is he talking? Where? Politics,
It's
I feel
the
like, has
left.
nothing to do
It's such
with
an
rapists.
easy scapegoat. Just blame it on the left. It's not us.
Castrated or killed. I'm telling you what my belief is. My belief is not public policy at the moment. And I
Not
think-
yet.
Would you agree with me on that one? Can we at least get a little agreement to finish this particular parlay? Okay. Should rapists be castrated or killed?
Well, yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, okay, we agree. Thanks.
Well, there's that. That was horrible.
gosh. Let me make sure. Louie, what are you doing? You being naughty?
Ben Shapiro debunked.
Intersectionality
Oh,
is
this is an
theory of the
18-minute
day,
video.
and this is the
Stop talking. Wage gap, income inequality, and white privilege. Oh, I didn't check the comments on that other one. Let's watch the comments on that. Hold on.
Nice. Got drool all
I
over.
didn't think it would take us 40 minutes to get through a 10-minute video. Jeez. Oh, Ben Shapiro posted this too. I will never fly a plane with Ben. He would destroy the left wing. Funny. Why aren't you 60?
But that's kind
Why
of
do we
funny.
hear boss music? Let's say hypothetically Bingo was his name, oh. These aren't even funny.
I think that's a relatively old video. I remember that floating around on Facebook.
These questions aren't even good. But these are just people that are like Ben Shapiro fans. Okay. Here we go.
intersectionality is the theory of the day, and this is the theory that says that we are going to judge your virtue, we're going to judge your capacity to be a good person by the color of your skin or by your sexual orientation, and precisely the opposite of the Martin Luther King idea. The idea now is that your identity is your virtue. So this creates a hierarchy of victimhood, and the hierarchy of victimhood goes something like this. It's LGBT people at the top, and then blacks, and then Hispanics, and then women, and then Asians, and then Jews are near the bottom here, and then straight white males are at the very bottom, because straight white males are the great victimizers.
First of all, what the fuck is he even talking about?
I have no idea.
What?
And we can tell whether what you say has value, not based on what you're actually saying, but based instead on your place in this hierarchy of victimhood. So if we could somehow find the unicorn of intersectionality, you know, the bisexual, transgender, female little person who's 3/4 black, 1/4 Native
I don't know if this is racist, but it don't feel right.
American and disabled. If we could find that person, we could all just go home, because that person would have every great view, because no matter what that person said, it would have to be right. You could not be more of a victim than this human being. And victimhood in our culture now confers privilege. Right? There is a victim privilege in our culture, at least in our political culture, that suggests that if you are part of a victimized group, this means that you have virtue to speak on any subject, and also you get to shut down everybody else. And there are some pretty solid privileges that come along with victimhood, two in particular. One is you're the only one who gets to talk. You get to tell everybody else to shut up. You get to tell other people that they are the beneficiaries of white privilege, or that they are the beneficiaries of America's social justice problem. You get to tell everybody else that you are the one who gets to speak. The floor is yours if you are higher on the scale of victimhood. And second, you actually get to hurt people. So it's not just enough.
What?
I think what he's trying to say is that, like, when talking about, like, because obviously he doesn't believe in, like, white privilege or any of that. So he's saying that anyone of a minority group has more authority to speak on their oppression, therefore creating a hierarchy structure.
Well, because, like, I know he was, like, saying that, like, women and stuff, like, he's saying, like, white men are at the bottom or whatever because they have, like, the best life or whatever, so they can't talk about.
But they statistically haven't been oppressed in the same way that, like, minority groups and women have.
I mean, the only thing is that maybe, like, that you could claim is, like, their oppression is, like, toxic masculinity and stuff like that, but then they put that upon themselves.
Exactly.
So I don't know who they want to blame for that one. But I don't understand. I don't even understand what he's trying to, like,
Ben
say.
would blame the left wing is the reason.
It's like, well, we can use the left for toxic masculinity.
To tell people to shut up. If they violate those rules that say they have to shut up, then you actually get to hurt people. And you also get to...
What does he mean, hurt people? That's a little scary. I don't know what he's trying to say, to hurt people.
Virtue signal. I mean, this is what we're all into on campuses these days, is virtue signaling, this idea that, again, you're a great person based on your identity. So I've heard that there are stickers being passed out on this campus and buttons being passed out on this campus in honor of me coming and speaking that say, what, UCSB against hate, is that correct? hate-free UCSB. Well, UCSB Against Hate was the one that I had heard before I came, so I have my own button. And it says right here, me against you sucking.
What?
That wasn't even funny. Like, don't. This is why Ben Shapiro thinks he's funny, is that people laugh at this shit, and it's not even a joke. Like, it's not even funny. Me against, what did he say? Me against you sucking? That definitely says more than me against you sucking, because I don't know. It just, what? This is not even, like, could you try
He's
to be
an
funnier?
edgelord. He's so cool.
He looks super, the quality of this video is also amazing. This is high as it
It
goes.
turns out that facts are not hate. Turns out that truth is not hate. And if you don't like what I have to say, then maybe you should argue with what I have to say instead of simply declaring it hate speech and therefore off limits. I also have heard that they've planned like half a dozen events tonight to prevent people from coming. Clearly that was successful. And I heard that one of the events that they planned tonight was the Social Justice Awards. Now, I don't know what trophies they hand out at the social.
He acts like he's a stand-up comedian, but he's not. He's not, like, you're nowhere near.
The
He's like,
social justice warriors, you know?
Pause for laugh. And, like, I feel like a lot of people that are there, because, like, he said that the way he talks, he makes it seem like it's a pretty full crowd, but there's not that many people laughing or cheering, so it kind of shows that, he don't have that many fans.
Justice Awards. I don't know what they hand out. Are they like little statuettes? So I brought my own, actually. It's just a design suggestion for the Social Justice Awards.
Ha ha ha! So
Ha,
funny.
joke.
Ben Shapiro, comedy king.
He thinks he is.
He really thinks he's funny. Like, that's the problem with this, is that you can tell, like, he's like, you know, there's like this meme with SpongeBob where it's like knocks him dead and stuff like that. And it's like, hold on, I gotta find the meme. But it's so funny. Like, this meme is how he feels currently.
He writes his speech, and it literally
Yeah.
has that on there.
Like, this is Ben Shapiro's paper
Pulls
that
out
he's reading
golden
right now.
toilet. Pause
Yeah.
for laugh.
Knocks him dead. Big laugh. That is literally like what he has on that podium right there in front of him.
And I think it's perfectly appropriate. As you can see, it's a golden toilet.
Oh, can we see that, Ben? Can we?
And I think that this is a perfectly appropriate suggestion for two reasons. One, social justice is a bunch of crap. And second, I made perfectly certain that when I purchased this, that the toilet was sex non-specific. Anyone can use this toilet.
That's the thing, though, is that, like, why do we gender
Why
toilets?
wouldn't you want more sex non-specific or specific bathrooms? It benefits everybody.
Literally, like, I don't
You
even.
can put changing tables in them. They can be like suited for like the disabled. Like
Not to
there's
mention,
nothing
do you
wrong with
think-
them.
Do you think him and his wife use the same toilet? Because I think they do. And so that means the toilet that they have is not a gender-defining toilet, right? You would think, right?
I agree.
So, I don't know.
Toilet, it doesn't matter. You should just feel welcome to use this particular toilet. So,
The thing is that Ben Shapiro is such a huge piece of shit, he won't fit into that toilet.
okay, so the actual theme of this speech is not about the evils of intersectionality. It's about the truth about America, which is that this
Facts.
is the country on the face of the earth, and here we're not trying to stop you. If you're black, we're not trying to stop you. If you're Latino, we're not trying to stop you. If you're gay, we're not trying to stop you. If you're transgender, we're not trying to stop you. No one cares about you.
First of all, what is he talking about? No one cares about you. What is that supposed to, like, mean? Like, what?
Does he mean like you can do whatever you want?
No one's interested in you. No one cares about your life. No one is trying to throw up obstacles in your way.
No one's trying to throw up obstacles in your way.
Except for we don't want you to use the bathroom that you want to use. There's one
Systemic racism, not a
doesn't
thing.
exist.
Prison
No, it
industrial complex doesn't exist. New Jim Crow laws don't exist.
Don't
Voter
exist.
suppression doesn't exist. None of that exists.
So nobody's trying to block you. If you're a minority, just try harder. Duh.
You did it to yourself, don't you know?
It's your choice.
You're Ben Shapiro, Rex, libs, got him.
You choose to be poor.
That's not to suggest there aren't isolated racists and isolated sexists and isolated homophobes and bigots. Of course there are. Of course there are. But the idea that the institutional society as a whole is out to get you is just plain false. And not only is it false, it's counterproductive and destroys your chances at success.
Okay. So this video came out. Well, it came out in 2018, but I feel like it's definitely not been out this long. Because this video, the quality of this looks terrible. So I'm going to say, because it seems kind of old to me. I don't know about you.
Someone filmed it on a fork.
It's a terrible quality video. But I just want to say is that it seems like, because I mean, like, gay people were just now able to get married, what, in 2015? 5 years ago? They were just now able to get married? And, like, yeah, there's isolated bigots and stuff like that. But why was it such an issue for LGBT to get married if it,
Why did it take all the way up until now?
like, why did you know what I mean? Like, if there's nothing standing in their way, why did it take so long for something like that to happen? You know what I mean? That didn't make sense to me.
Yes. Because if you imbibe the spirit that says that you are inherently going to fail, that anybody who says something who disagrees with you is going to cause you to be unable to study, and then you get a C in your diversity studies course, and now you can't go to the law school you wanted to, that's your own damn fault. Okay, that philosophy.
That felt a little too personal. Ben, do you have something you want to talk about?
That's your own fault. Like, there's no other factors that could be contributing. Like, I don't know, some people aren't trust fund babies, so they have to, like, work a full-time job and go to college, or some people have kids while they're going to college.
I mean, that's the thing, is that his parents are obviously both very well off. His parents
they worked in Hollywood.
And of course that gives you right in the front door. That is already rich people privilege. Not to mention he has white privilege, and not to mention that he probably also has a privilege of his family just knowing people. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Philosophy is your own damn fault. You want to succeed in America? Work harder.
Oh, he solved it. He solved poverty.
You know what?
Everything.
Just get a fucking job. Duh. It's not that hard.
Get a new job. Just do it. Don't worry about it.
Just do it.
Those inconveniences, those are inconveniences. Those aren't anything implemented by society.
I would love to see, like, Ben Shapiro, like, have to, like, try to get a job, like, be put under a fake name and stuff like that without, like, his clout. And, like, just, like, try to, like, apply for a job.
I think he has worked a job. He's an attorney.
I meant, like, get, like a retail job or something like that. Like, a minimum wage job and, like, see what it's actually like. You know what I mean?
That's all.
That's all.
Thanks. Period.
Snaps for Ben Shapiro, snaps.
So I want to start with the white privilege issue, because this is a big one that comes up on campus a lot lately, probably the biggest one. This idea that you are a victim inherently if you're not a white person, that the Constitution was built for white people. Does that...
It was literally...
I mean...
Yeah.
It was, though.
Literally, like, why do you think there were still slaves whenever they wrote the Constitution? Like,
And they very specifically wrote in, like, the way it is, you know. Hold on.
I'm just confused because if the Constitution was also written for every single person in America, don't you think slavery would have ended right there?
They just chose to. Civil War was for nothing. Just a bunch of social justice warriors.
That's Kanye talking point right there. Kanye said that people chose to be slaves.
You're joking.
No, he said that. Yeah.
Declaration of Independence was built for white people. Western civilization was built for white people, and therefore it inherently privileges white people above black people. This is stupid. It is stupid. It's tempting, but it's stupid.
Why though?
You think he explains why it's stupid?
First of all, it is true, of course, American history is replete with racism, and some people are
Okay.
currently affected by racism in the past. You may not have inherited as much wealth if your parents lived under Jim Crow. Obviously, that's true. But we cannot fix that with more racism.
So he's
What?
acknowledging that generational wealth,
Is a key contributor to like white people's success.
but he's just like, well, it's too late.
They said we
Sorry.
can't combat that with more racism, which I'm
What?
assuming means you can be racist to white people.
Yeah. Reverse racism.
Does not solve injustice.
Injustice? How is giving reparations to African Americans?
You know, when they
Racist.
1965, like the Equal Everything Act, so everything that went
Yeah.
in, it solved everything.
Yeah,
Racism gone.
gone. Never met a single racist
Who
in
is
my
she?
entire life.
Never heard of racism.
Yeah, don't know her.
Taking somebody else's property does not fix the problem that your grandfather's property.
So that's what he's saying.
Hmm.
Taking someone else's property. So
It's kind of funny because I thought we came here, right? And we kind of stole
We took
property from
other
some
people's
natives.
properties, yeah.
I don't know
You know?
about that one though.
That didn't fix any of the injustices.
Property was taken from you. We can't fix where we start in life, but we can fix where we're going. It turns out that if you don't want to be poor, permanently poor in the United States, all you have to do is three things. There's three things, according to the Brookings Institute. You can do all of these. They're very easy, right? Get married before you have babies, finish high school, get a job.
Okay, I've already done two
You
of
just
those
stole
things.
property.
I've done two of those things. I have a job,
Get a job.
and then what else did he say? Sorry, I already forgot.
Easy, right? Get married.
Get married before you have babies.
I'm not married yet, and I don't have any children, so I'm okay.
Graduate from high school.
Graduate high school. Okay, I've done that, and I've gotten a job. Okay, and then I probably
Okay.
will get married before I have children. But it looks to me right now.
Marriage is a bourgeois idea. Anyway.
That's the thing, though.
Don't
So
worry about it.
why do you have to get married? What if you don't have children? So I've done two of those things, right? To not be poor, and
Huh.
for some reason
I'm still kind of
doing
poor.
that
though.
great. I'm still pretty poor. Oh, right, you had children before you were married, so you're gonna be poor for the rest
That's
of your life.
why.
I'm sorry.
I messed up from the get go. Oh,
Shouldn't have had a child. You had a child before you graduated high school too. Shaking my head.
isn't that funny? I had a baby before all of that, and I did graduate high school.
And you had a job.
I had a job too in high school, and all the way up through college too. Huh.
They're applauding it.
According to Brookings, only 2% of Americans who follow these rules are in poverty.
Only 2% of Americans.
Okay, so if you take 2% of our total population, that's still like 33 million people or something crazy. Like, it's a large amount.
What is 330 million people? Is that how many you have?
I think it's around that number, and 2% of
So
that.
2% of 330 million is still 6 million Americans. 600
million. Sorry.
6,600,000 Americans.
6 million people.
Almost 7 million. That is a lot of people. That is still a lot of people. That's like an entire state for some states. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's way too high. Way too high.
75% of people who grew up in poverty and follow these rules are in the middle class. The easiest pathway from poverty is to take personal responsibility for your own actions and follow those rules. Graduate high school, get a job, and don't put that thing there without that thing on it before you're married. And as far as the idea,
Okay, but having the marriage thing is what's getting me. Like, what is getting married gonna change?
It's because you're gonna have another person to have the financial burden on the child, I guess.
I guess, like, specifically, but he's acting like the only people that like stay together are like the married people, but that's just not.
It's like 40-something% of marriages end in divorce, so it's not half, but it's like 40%. So
yeah.
So I mean,
he solved it though.
Yeah. That poverty is racially based. It's just not true.
He said poverty isn't
It's
racially based.
decision based in the main and almost hope.
I just love conservatives' idea, like rich people's idea. Like people just choose to be poor.
How do you acknowledge that generational wealth plays into it and then say that they choose to stay
But
poor?
like my thing is, who would ever choose to be poor? I've never understood that. You look at yourself, and you like even like a rich person. Would you ever choose to be poor? No. I look at myself. I'm poor. Do I choose this way? No. I work very hard. But then it's like I have a job and I graduated high
Like
school.
he's
I don't have
ignoring
any kids,
the
so
fact that upwards class mobility has gone down like I don't know, like 40% since like the 1940s. And that's a really big issue.
mhm.
Along with like what wealth inequality since like the Reagan
He talks
era.
about income inequality, so we'll see.
Okay, 71% of poor families with children are unmarried. That's
71% of poor families are unmarried. So what is being married gonna fix? You're gonna have to pay what, $30,000 for a freaking wedding? That's just gonna make you more poor. You know?
the single greatest predictor of intergenerational poverty is single motherhood. The poverty rate among non-married white families was 22% in 2008. The poverty rate among black married couples that same year was 7%. So what happened to the white privilege?
What?
He does not understand what
That's like, the problem is with people, it's everybody that says white privilege isn't real. It's everybody that says white privilege isn't real thinks it has to do with money, which it doesn't. That's the thing, is that's rich people privilege. You have different privileges because of how much money you make, and then you also have different privileges because you're skin tone. White privilege has nothing to do with how much money you make a year. That is a fact. White privilege has to do with about systematic racism. It has to do with systematic racism, and then probably also like just what else would it have to do with? Like social issues, I guess.
I mean, you can look at like the crime stats, right? And
Mhm.
like white people are just not as statistically likely as people of color to be put in these hardships. Doesn't mean that they're not going to struggle. They're just
No.
not like
As
it's
likely.
math.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is that plenty of white people, like I'm not saying that, plenty of white people live in poverty. That's the thing. Like tons of white people live in
Absolutely.
poverty. And that's an issue. And that's one thing that like even socialists and like communism like they fight for that. Like we don't want anybody to live in poverty. That's the thing. But people look at white privilege and they're like, "Oh, I don't have white privilege because I was poor." Well, you do have white privilege, but you
Only
also
that
were
easy.
poor. Like,
Look at it. I don't have it. Nope.
the thing is that you still have white privilege. Like that's the thing. Like whether or not you're not as likely to be pulled over by the police during the daytime, you're less likely to get arrested, you're less likely to be murdered. So you do have white privilege. That is where your white privilege plays into. You're more likely to get chosen for a job than a person of color because you have a white sounding name. But you're not, just because you're poor doesn't mean you're more likely than like a person who went to like Harvard than if you went to like a community college. The person with Harvard has rich privilege right there. That's rich privilege. So they're probably more likely to get the job over you because they have rich privilege, not because of your white privilege. And I don't think people understand what the difference
But
is.
I think even like I'd have to look up the statistic on it. I think a white people are overrepresented in like wealthy,
Yes.
that number, like the 1%.
Yes.
I don't think that it's equally distributed.
It's probably mostly white people. It's probably like 99% white people when it should be like, at least in America, it should be like 13% of, it's going to be,
ideally.
13% of people in the 1% are African American, and then whatever the other, I don't know exactly the other percentages of like Hispanics.
I think it's 76% is about like for the white population, and about 13, and then the rest is the other minority
It's
groups.
gone down, I think. It's closer to like 65%, I think.
Oh,
now.
dang.
It's going down significantly because I think there's been like studies and stuff like that where it's shown like in the future that eventually white people will be the minority, and I know they're just waiting for that.
The white nationalists are quaking.
That same year was 7%. So what happened to the white privilege? I thought that the country inherently is biased in favor of white people. Wouldn't the white single mother be better off than the black married couple? And
that's not what that means.
Equivalency.
That literally is not. There's a correlation does not equal causation right there. Like it literally has nothing to do with that. That's the thing. Is that like a poor white mother would have a little bit more privilege than a poor black mother. They would have like less likely of like dealing with racism and stuff like that. That's their privilege. But a poor white woman versus a rich black woman, the rich black woman has more rich privilege than the poor white woman, and that is the different separation of privilege. Like people don't understand the difference between like rich privilege and white privilege. They just associate rich with white, and I feel like that just shows the white privilege right here in the United States. You know what I mean? That you associate white people with being more rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what always happens. Anytime
I mean, if you really think about it, it kind of comes down to that, unfortunately.
like every time you mention white privilege, like, well, I was poor, so I don't have white privilege. But it's like nobody ever said you weren't poor. You're saying that you have white privilege, and then they associate it with being rich because they associate white with being rich. Drop the mic right there.
Sir, of course not. That's ridiculous. And the other one that people talk about is, of course, crime. They say that crime is obviously the criminal justice system is biased. That's why there are so many people of minority ethnicity and minority race in prison. It's not true. If you don't want to go to jail, there's a
Don't break the law.
very, very easy solution for this,
Oh
and
my
it won't
gosh.
be a criminal.
Wait for it. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Ready?
Let's do
Ready?
this. Okay, Benny boy. Come on. You're
Go.
gonna solve it.
We're not going. I understand that people have a stake in feeling like the police are out to get them. The police are not out to get them. In fact, when your house is on fire, when somebody's breaking into it, you're going to be calling the firemen and the police. And you're not doing that because you think they're going to come there and arrest you.
Why would you call the police for your house being on fire?
I mean, you just call 911, which I think is like in general, like police and fire department. They just allocate whoever it's for. But the thing is, like, what's the police gonna do with your house is on fire? Your house is getting broken into.
Exactly.
Let me take a few notes real quick. Bye. Never see you again.
Rips off ticket, actually.
Yeah.
Under-prosecuted in the black community. There aren't enough witnesses. Murder is wildly under-prosecuted in the black community. Police are less likely to kill black people than white people in shooting scenarios.
Less likely to. That's a lie. That is a whole lie right there. It's literally shows that they are more likely to.
Where's he going with this? I feel like we need to hear more.
Cops shot 987 people. A huge majority of those were armed or threatening deadly force. Blacks represented 26% of those shot, which sounds high until you realize that nearly 50% of all murders in the United States are committed by black people.
Oh, 1350! Oh my gosh, he did the meme.
Oh my god, I can't believe he just said that. He really did just say that, didn't he?
Ben Shapiro. Oh.
Oh
I
my
can't.
god. Does he not even know that stat has been debunked?
No, because Ben Shapiro only speaks back.
By a black male, then an unarmed black male
Wait, hold
are
on.
19 times more likely
Police
to be
officers
shot
are 19
by a
more
black
likely.
male than an unarmed black male is to be shot and killed by the police.
That one's also been disproven, I think. Because like the idea
I've never heard that stat.
I have. It's like Steven Crowder tweeted it the other day, and then somebody debunked it on TikTok. I mean, they were talking about how like I don't remember exactly what it was. I didn't watch it, but I'm just saying like the thing is that like with police officers and stuff like that is that they always have a gun, so you're always more likely to be shot by them. You know what I mean? Like a black person doesn't always have a gun. You know what I mean?
And as far as the stuff that they tell you in all your classes about the implicit bias test, right? You're in your diversity class, and they tell you can go online and see what a racist you are, right? We'll do this stupid little online test where they show a black face, and you're more likely to identify a bad word as being identified with a black face. Those tests are a load of crap. The people who actually design them say they're non-statistically significant. There is no identifiable evidence that demonstrates that racism on an implicit bias test supposedly translates to racism in real life. In fact, the results aren't even duplicative. They're not even duplicable. Okay, if you take the test twice, you're going to get two different results, which demonstrates the test is stupid. It's a bad test. Okay,
I don't know anything about these
That's
tests.
human error. That's a completely different.
I don't know what that test has to do with anything. That was so random.
It's a deeply sexist country. Women are under the thumb of men. No. Sorry to break it to you, ladies. You're not victims. Or happily, you're not victims. Welcome to the freest, most prosperous country on the face of the earth for women in human history.
The USSR would like to ask some questions.
I was just about to say that.
West Germany.
Or East Germany.
East Germany.
is
Yeah, East Germany.
waiting.
East Germany has some questions for you, love. Just a few.
Oh my goodness.
Round of applause for Benny Boy. You can
Now,
see
before
people
you
in the
start-
audience not clapping though.
We're
shout
just like,
about abortion and how we want to control your bodies and how I'm interested in your. Believe me, ladies, I am not interested in your body. My wife's super hot. Okay. It turns out the only body part of yours that I'm interested in is the part that contains a baby. That's the part I'm interested in. I'm not interested in your esophagus. I don't care about your kidneys. They're all yours. Enjoy. Okay. The
But your uterus is not.
part that I care about is the part that contains the baby, because that is not you. That is a baby. That is a different.
the uterus is definitely not a baby.
Because they are inside your body. As far as the wage gap, this is the big myth that you hear all the time. Women are paid 72 cents on the dollar. It's almost worthless debunking this because it's so easily debunked. My favorite instance of the debunking actually happened during this year's Super Bowl. I don't know how many of you saw the Audi commercial in this year's Super Bowl. So Audi ran this idiotic commercial. And the commercial was this little girl driving around in a go-kart. There's this deep voiceover where her father presumably is saying something like, "How am I ever going to tell my daughter that she
Wait, did you hear this voice?
is
Did he do that?
Is this his
in a
voice?
Mad Max hellscape for women? How am I possibly going to tell my daughter
That's his voice. Why does he make himself normally talk like that? It's so much less infuriating.
she'll never earn as much as a man just because she has a vagina?" And then at the very end of the commercial, they get into an Audi, and presumably this fixes things somehow. It's like, "She's still going to be victimized, barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, but at least she once drove in an Audi." So people tweeted at Audi after this, and they said, "Well, Audi, you pay your female employees less than you pay your male employees." And Audi immediately tweeted back, "Well, actually, that's not true. We pay them exactly the same if you take into account the number of hours worked and the job descriptions for people." Right. Right. Okay, Time magazine found that in 147 out of 100 of the 50 biggest cities in the United States, women actually make on average 8% more than men. If they are single and childless and they're out of college and they have the same job description and work the same number of hours, they make more than men. And on college campuses, this idea.
Why don't I? Where is it?
I have never, and I think when I was doing my debate prep, I looked for the study because it was linked in the Time magazine. However, you click it and it didn't go anywhere. I think it's the same one.
Time magazine. Men get paid less than women.
What he's ignoring completely is that like the primary responsibility for household duties primarily fall on women. So why would they be working the same amount when they have extra work at home that they have to attend to because it's not equally distributed? And like the high paying jobs don't have flexible hours. And when they have to keep that in mind, they're likely to take a less or a cut in their income, right? So that they can do the things that they have to do that are like forced on behind, like because of society.
Okay, so I'm looking at this. The myth 5: women earn 77 cents for every dollar a man earns for doing the
I
same
do
work.
have this. I know I do.
Clicked on the source for the economists that say that's refuted by it. Takes you to cosan.com and it makes you try to. It's a domain for sale. So,
See, it doesn't exist.
and then I
knew it.
try to click on another source that they have such relevant factors are considered. It's a Daily Beast article that doesn't load. I click on this Narrows one. It's a Huffington Post. The wage gap myth exposed by. Here's the study.
Is that Christina Sommer?
Yes. Yes.
She works for PragerU.
I clicked on the link for the study and it does not exist. Page not found.
Oh, it's so funny. I went through all of those. I think almost all of them don't go anywhere.
Yeah, like literally none of these studies go anywhere. So it's literally.
It's false.
Like that, you literally can't even prove this because they're like literally. I'm looking at the article that he's talking about, but then every single source I click on doesn't work.
Huh. I wonder how that works out.
Huh. Interesting. No sources except for Time magazine, which I would love to see primary source for that, love.
The funny thing is they always quote her too.
Matter is silly. Okay, 55% of all college students are women. 58% of all graduate degrees go to women. This idea that women are marginalized in the electorate, 54% of the electorate in the last election cycle was female. So if the patriarchy is winning, I'm just wondering.
But how many women are actually in government right now?
I don't know. He's saying all these stats, like, yeah, they graduate at a higher rate than men, and yet that number, right, it still exists. And I was like, if that was the case, it would be more equal. If men were taking on the same like familial jobs and they were treated as such, and it wasn't like the breadwinner homemaker model, it would be.
He said that like women make up 54% or whatever. Right here, as of November 2019, there are 101 women of the U.S. House of Representatives. There's like 430 women, or there's like 430 members of the House of Representatives, so that's only 23.2% of U.S. representatives are women. Considering that women make up half of the United States population, you know what I mean? Or like about half or whatever it is. And then Alaska, Mississippi, North Dakota, and Vermont have not elected a woman to the House of Representatives. So yeah, that's just the House of Representatives. I don't even know
Like Senate.
how many. Yeah, obviously we know there's been no women presidents. Women are in the Senate. So only 57 women have served in the United States Senate, and 26 are serving right now. So one more than half right now. No, there's 100 senators, so 1/4. So 25%. So
I see a recurring theme.
About 25% is represented, it looks like, in government. I'll say. Of course, it probably depends on state governments and stuff like that. Like, I don't know how many women mayors and governors and stuff there are, but it doesn't seem like it's a significant amount.
Not to conclude that, like,
no,
it's all fine. It's equal. It's not.
Yes.
But it's
because if it was equal, it would be more 50%, like what the actual, like, it's obviously disproportionate. It should be to whatever the amount it is total. You know what I mean? Or close to it. Like, I mean, if it was at like 48% or whatever, I would say that's equal, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Wondering why it is that they are the minority. And as far as the rape culture statistics, you know, this idea that 1 in 4 women on campus are raped, rape is, as I've said many times in many settings, rape is, in my mind, the gravest evil, maybe graver than murder. I believe that rapists should be castrated or killed.
Okay.
I think that rape should be treated
Base spin.
Where are we going with that, though?
Yeah, but most people lie about rape.
Non-consensual sex is the greatest crime that you can commit against another human being. It's a crime not against their body only, but also against their soul and their value as a human being. That statistic is still a bunch of crap, okay? Not 1 in 4 women on campus are raped. If they were, your parents would be insane to send you here. I have a 3-year-old daughter, and I cannot imagine going, you know what? My daughter really wants her degree in poli-sci, but there's a 1 in 4 chance she'll be raped if I send her to that institution. So let's calculate the values here. Poli-sci degree, raped. Again, no one would do that because it's just silly. The real statistic, according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, from 1995 to 2002, there were 6 rapes per 1,000 per year on college campuses, which is lower than it is in the general population, actually. Okay, 6 per 1,000 is not the same. You may notice for all the stats majors in the room, all the math majors in the room, 6 per 1,000 is not the same as 250 per 1,000. You know where that 250 statistic came from, that 1 in 4 statistic?
The left.
It came from an opt-in survey where they asked women, have you ever been sexually assaulted? But they included in the definition of sexual assault things that we're not fond of but aren't rape. Things like, did someone try to kiss you against your will? Did someone touch you?
Okay, so 1 in 4 women are sexually assaulted. How about that? Or sexually harassed. So, I mean, that's still not a very good.
I would still, even like if someone like forced themselves on you in any way, shape,
like
or form, whether it's like intercourse or not, it's still a problem.
If somebody touches your shoulder and you don't like that, or touches your lower back, you don't like that, that is definitely not okay. You know? I mean, it's not rape or anything like that, but it's definitely like
It's definitely sexual assault. I would count like if
Yes.
someone were to like forcefully like kiss you against your own will,
Yes.
or touched you in
Or,
like
like,
some
touched
inappropriate
yes.
fashion.
Yes. That is definitely like that is one out of 4 women are sexually assaulted. That's still quite a lot of people. Not gonna lie.
That completely discredits the entire study because Ben said
They were sexually assaulted, not raped. But I mean, so 1 in 4 women being sexually assaulted, I think is still. But you're still gonna send your child to college even though they have a 25% chance of getting sexually assaulted.
That's just college. That's not even like it's just life.
Yeah.
Permission. Okay, I'm shocked that it's 1 in 4. I'm shocked it's not 9 in 10. I mean, how?
What? Did this fool just say he's shocked
He would think it would be higher?
that more men should sexually assault women?
Where is he going?
How many times has a girl been on a date and a guy's gone in for a kiss and the girl's turned her cheek? Okay, the survey covers that. Hey, how about if you're LGBT? The idea that you're a victim in American society if you're LGBT. Well, the fact is that gay couples earn significantly more than straight couples.
What?
I can buy into that because I mean they're not gonna have children via like a heterosexual way, so it would make sense they aren't gonna have to pay for like daycare unless they choose to adopt.
So that's why they on average have more money.
Does it mean they're not oppressed? Or like
couples make
again, he's confusing rich privilege with other types of privilege.
He thinks that's an entire like fiscal argument. Like, oh, well, they make more, so they're not affected by society or anything in society.
Like, there's definitely social privileges that you have based on your skin tone and your sexual orientation and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's social privileges and then there's fiscal privileges too. You know what I mean? That's why people need to understand what rich privilege is. They don't.
Than men in straight couples, but women in gay couples earn a lot more than women in gay couples. Same-sex couples with both partners in the labor force make $8,000 more per year than straight couples. They're also typically higher educated. 46% of people in same-sex couples have college degrees. Only 1/3 of people in straight couples have college degrees. How about the idea that if you're in the United States, you're impoverished because of injustice, inequality, and privilege and all the rest of this? Income inequality is actually not a huge problem in the United States. And nobody rich is making you poor. The stupidity of the income inequality.
No!
Oh, wage theft, not a thing. Not at all. Not like it's like the majority.
Surplus labor value? No. Karl Marx didn't exist.
No, I know. Rich people do not exploit their workers at all. Never, ever has that ever happened. How dare you ever think that has happened, especially here in the United States?
It's a voluntary contract.
The argument is the idea that just because I make a lot of money, I'm stealing it from you. I don't care about you. I've never taken anything from you. I will never take anything from you. In order for you to give me something, I'm going to give you a service in return. As I've said before, consent. Socialism is about non-consent.
What is he?
What? What does that even mean? Socialism is about non-consent. What are you not consenting to in socialism?
Because they think it's theft. Because they aren't getting to steal from other people's labor.
What?
Like, capitalism is consensual sex and socialism is rape.
What?
Is he a real human? Let's go back to meme review where it says, is Ben Shapiro real? I understand now. He's an enigma.
You want Ben Shapiro to be real. I don't want him to be real, so I'm not sharing it. But the thing is, oh my god, wait. But I don't even understand, like...
is about non-consent. Capitalism is consensual sex and socialism is rape.
But like, okay, if capitalism is so consensual, how come I have to participate in it to survive?
They talk about that in Wage, Labor, and Capital. Like, what happens if the laborer doesn't sell his labor? He dies.
That's the thing.
You have to sell your labor to live in society.
That's the thing, is that, like, he says it's consensual, but it's entirely not consensual at all.
Socialism is you get to take my crap.
Woo!
Whose stuff is getting stolen?
I'll take Ben Shapiro's crap any day.
You get to take my stuff if you feel entitled to it. As far as this idea of the middle class in the United States is disappearing, we're all...
I mean, it is though.
Ben Shapiro
It's
thinks that socialism is when the government does stuff.
how did he graduate?
All going to die. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful. Okay, the upper middle class grew from 12% of Americans in 1979 to 30% in 2014.
That's probably some subjective survey where people answer on whether or not they feel like they're
think-
upper class. And that's the thing, is that nobody, again, no rich person says they're a rich person. You know what I mean? Most Americans are going to say they're middle class, upper middle class, or lower middle class. Nobody says that I'm in poverty, or nobody says that they're ultra wealthy.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Class consciousness.
People say the disappearing middle class. What they really mean is the middle class became the upper middle class. That's what actually happened. Okay, and income mobility in the United States, it's not dying, it's not dead, it's exactly the same as European countries with far more redistribution. Income mobility declines only when you drop out of high school or have a baby out of wedlock. So back to our...
What is it with him in marriage?
But it's not exclusive. That brings down the entire population. Why wouldn't you want to bring everybody up with you instead of just being like
United States, right? The grand conspiracy of poverty in the United States. 9 in 10 Americans had a standard of living that was above the global middle income standard.
But the thing is that, like, that's what I hate. Conservatives will be like, well, globally, even people in poverty are making more than people that live in, like, other countries where they only make pennies a day or whatever. But the thing is that we live in the United States, is that, like, according to, like, how the correlation of what people in poverty live in other parts of the world compared to, like, what people live in poverty here. There's, in the United States, you have a certain standard of living that you have to be a functioning member of society. Like, you know what I mean? Like, certain places in the country, like, or in the world, that they don't have, like, the same thing. Like, even the richest people don't have what the
Mhm.
poorest people have here in the United States. You know what I mean? Like, because poor people
yeah. It's like
Homes
we're
like
still
that.
like we're a first world country, right? And we still have like a very abundant homeless population.
And the fact
It's
is,
like
we shouldn't have homelessness at all. That's the thing, is that, like,
period.
we should not have homelessness. The thing is that, like, other countries, you can see why they have homelessness and stuff like that. They're a very poor nation. You know what I mean? Even Cuba, a very poor nation, has no homelessness. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, some people live with, like, their grandparents and their great grandparents and stuff like that, but there's still no homelessness. You know what I mean? Like, the fact is that, like, we shouldn't have homeless people right now. Simple as that.
It means that 9 in 10 Americans are rich by global standards.
That's the thing, is that, like, we live in the United States, though. The United States is a very rich country. If 9 out of 10 Americans were poor compared
They flex that too. They're always like, well, we're the richest nation per capita, like all this other stuff. I was like, okay.
Yes. So why
And
do you have people starving and hungry and living in poverty, living in homes that they can't afford? Like, what?
7% of people in the U.S. were middle income, 3% low income, and 2% poor. So 2% of people in the entire country, a country of 320 million people, 2%
We just figured out what 2% was, which was 6 million people, Ben.
of those people are living in what anything would resemble global poverty. Here's the problem with all
6
this
million
stuff.
people.
When you say that America's out to get this group, or that because you're a member of this group or that group, you get to shut other people down, you get to tell them to shut up, you get to act violent, you're dividing Americans and you're destroying the country. You're destroying the social fabric. If we don't have social fabric, we can't have conversations. You can't ask questions. I can't give you answers. Right? We can't talk with each other. We can't vote together. We cannot have a civil society without the social fabric that assumes that we play by the same rules. And when you make the case, not only do we not play by the same rules, but the rules should only apply to you and not to me, right? I should be able to do whatever I want because I'm a member of a victim group. You destroy that social fabric. And talk about discrimination doesn't make the social fabric better, not when the discrimination is phantom. It doesn't make the social fabric better. Example, in 2010, 13% of Americans worried about race relations. After 6 long years of talk about how race relations were down the toilet and Black Lives Matter and cops are shooting people and the lie of hands on shooting the rest of it, 35% of Americans were worried about race relations just 6 years later. Did that fix things? Did that awareness make things better? Not at all. In 2007, the wage gap between blacks and whites was 24%. In 2015, the wage gap between blacks and whites was 27%. So all that awareness didn't do a damn thing.
But that's the thing. Is that's because we live in a bourgeois society where they're not going to change anything. That's the government officials that aren't changing anything.
Is it in his eyes better just to ignore the issue?
It
I
turns
guess
out that
so.
awareness isn't the problem. It turns out that in many cases, behavior is the problem. And if we have to change the laws, we'll change the laws. But stop pretending that this is about some shadowy conspiracy out to get you, because it isn't. In fact, according to Northwestern University study, perception of discrimination led to lower grades, less academic motivation, less persistence when encountering an academic challenge. You want to know why you couldn't study for your class? It wasn't because of me. It's because your teachers keep telling you no matter how you study, no matter what grades you get, you are bound to fail in American society. That's doing you a hell of a lot more damage than me standing up here telling you you can do it. You can control your own destiny.
I don't even know what he's trying to say.
He's trying to say that systemic racism is pulling people down. It's the real
Life is in
racism.
your hands. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever no one
Acknowledging that racism exists is the
Fly,
reason
let
why
your
you are
flag
suffering.
Fly. No one cares. Do whatever it is that you want to do. No one is out there to stop you. And I'll tell you what, if someone is out there to stop you, and you can show me evidence, and you can show any of us evidence, that person is out there to stop you for any discriminatory reason at all, we will all stand with you. We will. We all want to be on the same side of this thing. What tears us apart is when you immediately assume, when people immediately assume that just because my skin color is different than yours or my religion is different than yours, I must have an agenda that is adversarial to yours and I want to destroy you. I don't. What I want is a country where we can all be free, where you don't have to care what I think and I don't have to care what you think, because we're all leaving each other alone, and all we care about is the maintenance of that freedom that was guaranteed to us by those evil white founding
I love
fathers
this
who
popping
constructed
up.
the greatest system in the history of humankind.
Thank
Thanks
you,
so
Ben.
much. Happy to take your questions.
So what the hell was that? I've lost so many.
I'm pretty sure he said something about George Floyd recently, as much as he doesn't care. What does Ben Shapiro have to say about George Floyd?
Shapiro. Let's see. Ben Shapiro's shocking reaction to George Floyd. There's a video on it. It's 8 minutes.
It's really ugly, and it's really.
I don't really want to watch this because I'm tired of Ben Shapiro. Let me see if I can find, like, did he tweet about anything? Ben Shapiro responds. It's just a video. I don't
Is it him talking? Oh, this is by Ben Shapiro. Like, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, like he made a video talking about it.
It says, with the death of George Floyd, a heinous atrocity virtually every American decries. Unity should be prevailed.
Anyways, I think we're done talking about Ben Shapiro. He's a stupid, ignorant, willfully ignorant, I would say, person. And I had fun bullying him.
Yeah, next time we'll probably do a Ben Shapiro. Steven Crowder.
I want to do Steven Crowder.
Next one. We'll have to find good clips because he does those debates.
Change my mind. That's his whole thing.
Oh yeah, he is the meme. I forget that.
Yeah, he is the change my mind meme.
Oh my goodness.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in.
We got 3 people left.
Oh. Well, we're probably going to make a clip video of this for highlights and stuff like that. So definitely check that out if that's out.
Come on our Discord in case.
Yeah, join our Discord if you're not on there. Or who knows, Discord might die too.
Oh yeah, we have to check that, huh?
Yeah. All right, thanks for coming. I can't end this, so this is all up to you, Rye.
Okay. Peace out.
Girl Scouts.
I think it's ending.